Okay, so having said I wasn't going to piss around with the carbs, I'm going to piss around with the carbs. Why? Because I still don't have the pissing tank. I'm getting immensely frustrated dealing with a guy who says he's really busy, and I can't, or I just need an address and I'll pick it up. It's getting beyond a sodding joke, it really is. So I thought I'd have a look at the float heights, just because I've got to feel like I'm making some progress. I really do. And at the moment I've kind of hit the limit of what I can achieve. So I doused it with WD-40 because despite the claim that it was all good to go, etc., it was pretty rusty. So the reason I paused there is because these are really loosely. Oh no, actually that one's tighter. Yeah, that one's going to get stripped. Get a different screwdriver in on that one. So, am I upside down? I am upside down at the moment, so no, actually. That was the one that was leaking. It's not leaking from the bowl though, so it's coming out the jet, but that's ridiculously loose. Especially when this side have been properly spaz-tighted. So as much down pressure as I can manage. And just get them going. Now they're going to strip, so I'm going to go and grab some mole grips and give those a go. Right, back in a second. So back in the room, mole grips, always the way to get out. Stuck float bowl screws, because they're nice and accessible. Excuse me, bit concerned how crap they are, and the assurance that it's had a full carb rebuild when these screws are in quite shite state. So if they've done it without replacing them. But we shall see. Trying to keep the decent ones together and the dodgy ones together. I'm sure I've got some replacements somewhere, but couldn't find them, which is frustrating. But hey, I'm kind of dicking around in the dark in a garage, so it's not that surprising I couldn't find them. Oh, in fact, there might be over there. Let me have a look in a second. So, apologies, not the most interesting thing in the world, watching some tit undo 4 screws, well, 8 screws. But let's see what we got. Right, so for orientation wise, let me get this right. So this is the side that's been leaking. So if there is a float bowl issue, it's on that side. Now actually, quite clean. Decent amount of recess on the float bowl, on the left one, well, left here, yeah, left on the bike actually. Ditto on the other side, he might actually have done this. Immediately, it's not the most, you know, some tit tapping it isn't the most accurate judge in the world, but bouncy, that's like dead. Right, so yeah, on a tappity tap tap, That's got some spring in it and some tap. That's just dead. Right, so I don't know how I sort that. I think it might just be the float valve inside, but I'll have a bit of a look. But at least it's confirmed my initial gut feel that it's the float. I say it's confirmed, it's not confirmed, it hasn't proved a thing, but I don't know, it's really difficult for me to show you actually, but let's just see if I can get it on a bit of an angle. That doesn't look too bad. So, aside from the fact they are slightly different heights, get that, the reaction to a tap is, well actually let's just try it, down to the bottom, let up the spring. It's there, but it's just, that's quite lively, that's relatively dead. So I think I'm just going to try a clean out and see what happens. I'm not going to film it because it's dull, but they are reacting differently. Doing, doing, doot, doot, doing, doing, doot, doot. I can't get any more technical than that, but I'll have a play and I'll see what I come up with. Right, just before I start messing around with the floats too much, 140 jets, that's fucking cute. I held it up just to see how clean it was and thought, Christ, that's a big old hole. Yeah, it is. It's 140s. So what, remember that, Nat? That does seem a bit excessive, although that said, it is on pods rather than on a airbox, but yeah, 140 does seem a little bit excessive, but that's not what's concerning me at the moment. What's concerning me at the moment is, I think, that float, because it's not operating properly. It doesn't feel like it's operating properly. Yeah, nice and clean again. And so again, and another, oh, come on, you focused beautifully last time. Take my word for it, it is a 140 as well. Happy. I'll have a bit of a clean out while I'm here, although it doesn't, frankly, it doesn't need it, it's quite clean on the inside, but there is definitely something going on with that float. It might actually just be set really low, because it's just tapping straight out. I'll have a proper look. Right, I might have cocked up my video a little bit, but I need you to look something up on my phone. So the float height should be 17 millimeters, according to the manual, which I think I've said about it before, is the there's a Facebook site for everything, and eventually it led me to a forum, and eventually it led me to a forum that's got a full copy, a searchable copy, which is awesome, of the manual, which is great. So 17 millimeters height, but it's 17 millimeters from when it starts to seat. Now obviously you can't quite tell when it starts to seat, it's a little bit of touch and feel. It's 17 millimeters is the point where it starts to engage, which is a bit of a hit and miss. The more and more I look at this though, the more that there is considerably more on that than that is nigh on set flat. So I'm adamant that, well, this one doesn't leak, this one does. So that is set to low. So what I'm going to do, take both the floats out. I'm going to mark with me trusty cheapy digital calipers, rather than try and measure a float as it's hanging, etc., which just doesn't really seem to work, or I've not managed to, I just don't think I'm dexterous enough to do it. So what I'm going to do is take them out, get something as, I'll show you, but effectively mark 17 millimeters on that main stem, and then try and level off against that, rather than try and hold it at an angle with a caliper up there as well, which I've just not managed to do. So I'm going to whip these off. Try not to make too much of a mess while I'm doing it, and then measure it up, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. Right, so you're going to have to bear with me and trust me a little bit on this because it's really hard to demonstrate. So I've got the carb propped up. Remember, this is the side where I thought the float was pretty right. Now bearing in mind, I've moved that, but believe me, that says 17. I've said it right, that said 17. So I measured from this 30 LED jeweled lights, clear box, a slither of plastic that is 17 mil wide. And the reason why I've done it quite so long and not used the caliper is because that broaches the gap from one side of the float to the other. Yeah, so because you're measuring the float height from this line here, from the carb line, that's what you're after. So that is 17 mil. Remember I put that because it's clear and I'm going to lose it. Now the way you're supposed to measure the height is, it's going to be very difficult to see. Actually, I have a torch somewhere. Okay, right, I have a torch which may help, might not. Now, if I sound muffled, it's because I'm going to have to mount it in my mouth. Right, so you can see in, oh, there you go, good focus. Actually, that's the pin of the float valve. So if I run out of fingers here, while the washing machine's going into tumble dry. So if I push the float in, you can see it depressing that little silver lump there. Yeah. So the height you want to measure is when it's got pressure on it, but it's not pushing it, and it's not far off what it is there. Though, albeit propped up against a bit of plastic, real Heath Robinson. So that's 17. Bearing in mind there's a bit of a lip on the edge of that, and I'm not sure whether or not that's counted in the height, but the main body of the float, that's pretty bangers. So that's the good side. What I'm going to do now is try and demonstrate the other side and see if it is different. Now I think it will be considerably lower, but let's have a look. Right, so set up again. You just see, oh, it's not bad focus actually, where's my finger? Right, just see in there we are nested against but not pushing down on the pin, so we're not far off the angle. And so I can get me trusty bit of plastic, there we go, and it's lower. So happy, well, say happy. I think it's proven what I thought it was proving. I need to bend that pin in to raise up the float to get it gauged a little bit quicker. I'll do that now and we'll see how that affects it. Alright, a couple of attempts later. It's really hard to coordinate in doing this, and I think we're about as close to bangers as we're going to get. No, I'm happy with that. Now I think, let me just wake it back up here again. Have to remember that's balanced on, not clipped in, before my phone hits the deck again. Now, what does that mean? Now, got two floats that behave the same with pressure. The tappity tap tap, that's better. So what, I've not adjusted this side, so the right side on the bike, oh, it's the right side now I suppose, I've not adjusted that because it was fine, it wasn't leaking. The left hand side was, so that now matches a little bit more. So is that enough? seems to be. I mean, obviously that's below 17 now because it's under compression. So if I just drop that to as near as damned it, yeah, I'm content. I'm content. I'm not an expert on floats, any stretch the imagination. I've just had a bit of an experience with them before on the Eliminator, on the ZL600, and it was the undoing of everything I was doing. It was the fact that I wasn't paying enough attention to them. So I think that is enough love and attention paid to those, and that just feels better straight away. Obviously I'm not going to run it up now because it's time, nearly 10 o'clock, and the bike is one noisy bastard. Just a bit of a closer examination. These have seen a bit of the wars, but they don't look too bad. So while I'm here, let's just do a look-see. They have theoretically been synchronized. They kind of look it, but it's not really something you can do by eye. I know they're nice and clean. I was told they were clean, but they are actually nice and clean. Diaphragm sound intact. I am at some point going to have to take the tops off because I've got to do something with this because it is crappy chrome, and it needs to tidy up. I think what I'm going to do, well, I'm not going to bother filming it because there's no mechanical or no mechanics skills involved at all. Obviously you're going to chuck the bowls back on. I'm bloody sure I've got some newer screws. I'll have my third look for them, see if I can find them, rather than putting dodgy ones back in. But if I have to put them back in, I do. I'll put the float bowls back on, and I'm just going to give the whole casing a once over. I've got some carb cleaner, I've got some brushes just to get rid of some of the shite. I'm not going to mess around too much with the air fuel screws. He says, just, yeah, I probably will, but I think I'll just factory reset them. I've got them on the phone on the Haynes manual as to what they should be as a factory setting, so I'll push them back to that, I think. Although that's a little bit misguided because factory settings are set for an airbox and it's on pods. Oh, excuse me, mum week. So yeah, I'm going to put the float valves back on, give it a bit of a tidy up and then leave it. I'll try and give it a run tomorrow, but what I really want to achieve tomorrow is MOTing the Senki and the Kimco scooter. The Senki is exactly 30 days out of its MOT, 30 days left on its MOT, so it's MOTable. Wrong, you can MOT a vehicle anytime, but it's MOTable, but they'll extend the MOT, so they'll have a 13-month MOT on it, if it, essentially, assuming it passes. I have had a bit of a play with the headlight and raised it a little bit, so I'm pretty content that's going to be fine. To give her a ride, put some fuel in it. It bogged out early, but I think that's just because it didn't have a lot of fuel left in it, and what was in there is dubious, so I swamped it with decent fuel and it ran fine. So yeah, that's the main plan tomorrow. All of it complicated by the fact I also need to pick up my car from a garage as well. Yeah, could be a busy day tomorrow. Happy, right, I'm going to put these back on. I'm not going to film cleaning it. I might do a little film at the end of how it looks more cleaned, but yeah, we shall see. Cool, catch you in a bit.